welcome back to I Did This Instead of Killing Myself, a stand-up comedy and lifestyle podcast based out of Greenville, South Carolina. My name's David Bakker. I am your host. It's September 7th, 2021, and we're coming off of the weekend of Labor Day. Always tough coming back. Maybe especially harder coming back after a holiday. What a great weekend, though. College football's back. People around here, all the Clemson fans were very excited until they got their butts kicked by Georgia on Saturday. And, so I love football, but, we still have a week before the NFL is back and real football's back, which is the Green Bay Packers, the only team that matters. Don't at me. Whatever. Anyway, kudos to you for being hopefully out and about on a Tuesday. And, I think this is going to be a great week getting into fall. A lot of people want fall this year. I know a lot of people are like saying, yeah, summer was good, but I'm ready to cool off. I'm ready for blankets and apple orchards and whatever, pumpkin lattes. And so, the fall is here. Hard to believe. But anyway, this will come out on a Tuesday, so we do have an abbreviated week of comedy. Before we get into the schedule, my guest today, Chris Diorio. He's one of my good friends in comedy. I met Chris at a comedy competition in Greensboro, North Carolina last year, like a couple of months after I'd started comedy. I was in way over my head, should not have been doing a contest. Chris Diorio was there. He advanced in the competition. He is, like I said, he's based in Charlotte, but he's traveled all over. He's performed in New York City. He's performed several other states, including Texas, and many others I don't have written down in front of me. But what we talked about, what I'm impressed with Chris about is not only is he funny, his joke writing style and everything I really appreciate, but he's also very active in a business sense. So he knows, practically speaking, how to get out there and promote yourself as a young comedian. So we talked about things like getting your EPK ready, how to reach out to bookers, just how his progression was, and we just had a fun conversation about comedy in the industry. So I hope you enjoy that. There are a couple of accolades I'm going to read about him because he does have a bio. So Chris, he's born and raised in Connecticut. He brings that signature Northeast wit to the stage. Sold out multiple shows across the Southeast. Considered by many to be a throwback to a different era of comedy. Keeps the audience on the edge of their seat with hard-hitting punchlines, cagey wordplay, and clever misdirection. That's code for he's a savage. Very dark, edgy humor, which I love. He has residency at the Broadway Comedy Club in New York City. Two-time winner of the Elevate Lifestyle magazine's favorite comic award. That's Chris. You'll like him. All right, so this week in local comedy, abbreviated week, but here we go. Tonight at Doolittle's in Anderson, downtown, 7 o'clock, hosted by Robin Scott. Actually, our host this week is Eazy-E, guest host. And then our headliner is Drew Davis, coming in from Tennessee. So that's a free show. Be sure to come on out for that. On Wednesday, we have the Radio Room open mic at 8 o'clock, hosted by Adam Schulte. Come on out and do 5 with the Radio Room folks. And also on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, the Disclaimer Stand-Up Lounge in Asheville, North Carolina at the Asheville Music Hall. Their open mic. Check that out. Thursday, Jokes Out Loud at the Comedy Zone with Brandon Rainwater. Very fun show. A lot of young comics getting better and better, and that show is a blast. I'll be performing there on Thursday, and a lot of great comics are on the list as well. That's $10 cover at the Comedy Zone. And this Friday, September 10th, the Joke Show returns, hosted by Tom Emmons. This week, our headlining comedian is Jessica It's All Good. So we took a few weeks off from that show, but that is a squeaky clean, family-friendly show in Liberty at the Pickens County Performing Arts Center. So check that out. All right, that's it for local comedy. Hope you all have a great week, and hope you enjoyed my interview with Chris. Here it is. Two-time winner, Charlotte. This is a perfect start to this show.
We're starting. Okay, we're kicking off. Yeah. I just found out. I just found out recently that I was once again awarded Charlotte's favorite local comic.
Favorite local comic.
Twice, two in a row.
What an introduction.
Yeah.
Chris Diorio, our guest today.
How are you?
The Charlotte comedian, Charlotte-based
comedian. Yeah.
But actually, before we talk about anything, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. Today's my birthday.
Yeah, this is the first time that's happened. It's a Friday morning.
Yeah, it just kind of all worked out that way. I was, my comedy's my favorite thing to do. So, what do you want to do for your birthday? I said, I want to do stand-up. I want to get on some shows.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough. I got booked on a show tonight down in Augusta, Georgia, at the Fox's Lair, a beautiful venue. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Marcus and Willard running that show.
Nice.
And so I reached out to Brandon. And I said, hey, man, I'm coming through the area.
Yeah, because were you not signed up necessarily for? Because they've been booking that open mic.
Well, we did that. We did that show together. Brandon and I did that show together at the Vineyard that you were at.
Yeah.
You hosted it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, man, about the 13th, I'm in Georgia. You mind if I come through on the 12th? And he's like, yeah, I got you. So Brandon's great, man. Brandon's a fantastic individual. Really contributes to the overall success of the comedy scene.
He does, man. I think in the Greenville scene, there's
pinnacle,
really
absolute pinnacle.
We look up to him a lot, and we're super thrilled. Cause I think he's about 8 years in.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I need to make a note to get him on the podcast schedule.
Please do. Yeah, I'd love to. He's a entertaining guy, dude.
Yeah. It's funny with the podcast guests and stuff. I start, with. Because we started this thing, and I'm only a year in, so a lot of the guests I'm asking are newer folks. Yeah. I'm gradually getting up the nerve to ask.
Yeah, that's
the
good.
Bigger comics. It's great though to see. I mean, I'm sure he'd do it, and
Oh yeah, of course, guys. Yeah. I mean, the way he contributes to the he has his own success. He's highly successful. Great, funny, one of the funniest guys I know. But then also he contribits to the scene too. He does his part to make his own scene better.
Did you see he's touring with Ginger Billy?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. And that's the thing you got to do, man. I was talking with Jazz Gill. Shout out to another great local comic down here, Jazz Gill, last night, and we were like, the better your scene is, the better you are. Because the more eyeballs on your scene, the more people are doing great in your local scene, the better everybody is. It's better for everybody. So. This notion that and you don't see that down here in Greenville. I want to shout that out. You don't see that a lot in Greenville. Where this notion of there's only like you're applying for a job that only has 2 openings and there's 100 applicants. That's not how comedy works,
dude. Totally.
And
that's why it really throws us off. We talk about that sometimes. How the Greenville scene's very supportive.
Yeah, very much so.
Almost too supportive sometimes, but that's enough. But sometimes I'll go to a different city and. Whether it's an open mic or whatever, and if the comics don't talk to each other after the show and they just leave, and it's just that kind of throws me off a little bit. I'm like, where's the? Yeah,
and you're right. It's a double-edged sword, and it's weird when the entire scene just up and leaves. It's one thing if hey, I gotta go, I got shit to do, but yeah, and it's a double-edged sword sometimes because you use those shows where. Every time somebody walks off the stage and everyone's like, dude, you killed it. And it's like,
yeah. You don't want to be,
Especially when you don't kill it, when you fucking bomb and you walk, I can swear, right?
Yeah, sure.
When you fucking bomb and you walk off stage and people are like, oh man, I'm like, get away. No, I didn't. Stop. I know what it feels like to kill. And that was not a killing. So
yeah,
I'll kill you if you say it. I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Get away from me.
Good job.
You patronize me, I'll fucking kill you. Yeah. So we'll talk. We'll see a killing.
Yeah,
but
it is weird trying to self-evaluate though sometimes too.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to be your own worst critic?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but do you want to?
But you don't want to hate yourself so much that you are crippled psychologically, so you can't get back up the next time.
Yeah, I don't do the whole self-loathing thing either.
Yeah,
that caricature you see of stand-up comics sometimes. They're all, but I've got a great life.
Yeah,
I got a beautiful girlfriend. I travel doing what I love.
Yeah,
relatively in shape. I got a decent beard going. I don't fucking hate myself at all.
That's good.
I fucking love me. Yeah.
I have self-loathing stuff a little bit. I don't try to ham it up too much. I try to go teeter with it.
Well, it's I have some self-loathing jokes, but they're jokes. I tell jokes.
Yeah.
You know, like clearly. So, it's fun. Like it's fun to me. Like I'll make fun of myself, but I'll also make fun of you, and I'll make fun of you, and I'll make fun. But I get like that character with the comic kids off stage, and they're go to the alley and smoke a cigarette and try not to cut themselves because they're fuck it out, man. You know.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. Like even on a macro scale, like life is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
In the United States, if you're not starving in the United States and you have a roof over your head, that's a pretty big win. And you know, obviously we're even more blessed than that.
Yeah,
but,
perspective, right? Perspective.
Yeah.
Like, there's a slave trade in Libya right now, and you're going to be like,
yeah.
But my joke about the dicks didn't work tonight. I should go kill myself. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of the worldwide stuff, this is a little off topic, but did you happen to catch the interview with the woman from North Korea on Joe Rogan's show?
Crazy, dude. Crazy.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I'm a huge... Look at me. I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan, right?
Dude,
Let's be
me
honest.
too.
Yeah. I mean, let's not be...
I'm a Joe Rogan bro.
Again, I don't hate myself.
Shameless.
Yeah, bro Rogan. I'm a Joe Rogan.
I
have a Joe Rogan
science. And
I have a Joe Rogan candle. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
You do?
What's like one of those nativity candles, like one of those religious candles?
Hell yeah.
Where you normally see. I'm gonna get your show fucking canceled. Fuck Kevin Brandon. You're not gonna make it there. It's you know, there's like Jesus candles, like the religious candles. I have one of those, but it's Joe Rogan on the candle instead.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I wish I brought it with me.
He's a cult icon.
Yeah, no, he's he's fantastic. But
I had the trailer to this podcast. It's supposed to be a joke that I was trying to be like Joe Rogan. I had the little clip of him in the trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so that interview though about that woman from North Korea, dude.
So eye-opening too.
Puts things in perspective.
Really, seriously.
What was your takeaway from it? Like,
it was crazy to see like how she, because based on what we just said too about like the self-loathing stuff, I think people like manufacture reasons to be upset sometimes, and like you hear what this lady went through, and she's like, you know, she had to like crawl through mountains in like the sex trade of Mongolia to get here to the United States, and like put herself through college. Yeah. Basically, like got into Columbia University, like a prestigious college and stuff like that. And it was like very like an inspirational story. And then she's here and she's like, and then, you know, I see people complaining about some of the stuff they're complaining about. And she's like, how do you have time to worry about that? And it puts it in perspective. It's like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not saying they don't worry about things. Like take care of your people. That's the point. Take care of your people. But at the same time, like have some perspective.
Absolutely.
Right?
I think she mentioned an example of there was like some fundraiser or cause, and people were really upset and passionate about the cause, and then she's like, what was the cause? And it was like pet hunger or something.
Yeah.
And she was like
dogs who have bad haircuts or something like that.
Tragedy.
Yeah.
Like this is, you know, the crazy thing to me too.
It's like cats whose balls haven't been shaved was like the tragedy. Like, shave a cat's balls for $500, and there's Hollywood celebrities like pulling up their cats with unshaved balls and shit.
Yeah.
You have Gal Gadot crying on camera.
The PETA people, like this is some crisis. And I don't know, it was crazy to me how she's like I think she's in her 20s. Yeah. So the stuff she was describing, it's not like this is like 100 years ago, ancient history. This is going on right now. And it was like a totalitarian regime.
Yeah.
And it's like a modern day Holocaust. Truly.
It truly is. And what I had forgotten, I knew this, but I'd forgotten, is that the North Korea that we know today, like the totalitarian dictatorship in North Korea, started in the 60s. Mm-hmm. Like you hear about it and you think like, oh man, they just never advanced. No, they were advanced, and then they went there in the 60s, which isn't that long ago. Like a lot of people we know were alive in the 60s.
Yeah.
A couple guys that performed last night were alive to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's, you're like, yeah, it's not like they were like some, you know, one of these like off the beaten path like countries that just never got civilized.
Right. Like you know, a lot of like Haiti is a country that has had historic destability, like always, you know.
Yeah.
African countries have had a hard time advancing. They just don't have infrastructure.
That one place in South America where like, they shoot arrows at helicopters. You ever see that?
Oh, that's totally untouched.
Yeah, like shit like that. Like there's not North Korea like, had.
Right. Well, that's a lesson in history when it comes to like comparative economic systems, like communism versus capitalism.
Yeah.
And that doesn't get taught enough. But you know, the atrocities of the Soviet Union.
Real socialism's never been tried. Remember that. That's what they're telling us. But yeah, no.
It was just shocking to me.
Yeah,
man.
she compared it to the Hunger Games.
Yeah. Because people don't. I hope everybody listens to it. In fact, like this That was a podcast I was like, man, like I listen to a lot of random stuff, but I think everybody in America should hear that because it reminds us of like how rare, how not a given freedom is. Just to be able to do what you want, own what you want, and go about your business how you want. It's not automatic.
I'll say it right now. If you only listen to 2 podcasts in your entire life, this one, this specific episode,
this
specific episode, and then the episode with, I think her name is Yeonmi Park, right? Yeah. It's on the Joe Rogan podcast, whatever. That is one of the most eye-opening podcast episodes you ever listened to.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and because you can tell, I mean, she obviously lived through it, and
yeah, it's so interesting too. Like,
but just have every aspect of your life controlled by the government. Every aspect. They didn't even have room for like love, or
they didn't have a word for it.
They didn't have a word for
love. They didn't have a word for credit cards. Yeah.
They didn't have a word for I don't think, because there's no such thing as an individual.
Yeah, everything's we. Like, yeah.
They use we all the time.
Yeah, like we took a shit this morning.
That she didn't even have a word for rape because
no, which. How do you even do comedy without that word?
Yeah. I know.
That's why they don't have comedy in North Korea.
She's a word for abortion. Have a word for
yeah, you can't. Yeah, none of the tropes.
A dead baby. Yeah, we'd be screwed there.
Yeah,
Anyway. Yeah, listen to that podcast.
I told him not going to North Korea.
I'm glad Chris is bringing jokes because I was so passionate about that North Korea thing. I was texting my buddies like, we need to invade North Korea right now, and I'm against like Bush style nation building, but I was like, these human rights atrocities in North Korea. I was like, dude, we need to invade tomorrow.
I had the same.
There's so many people dying, dude.
Yeah, it's not even an invasion. It's like a psyops operation is what we need. Like dropping like the leaflets saying like.
Yeah.
Like pictures of like, here's America. Like, you can have this.
Yeah.
If you fuck those people.
The leaflets. So
like, fuck
I didn't know a lot about this in history, but have you seen Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk?
I haven't, but I was in the Air Force, so I was in the military.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not like I wasn't involved in psyops, but I'm familiar with like how they work and stuff like that.
Let me describe what was in the movie, and you can corroborate what this was.
Yeah.
But obviously in Dunkirk, the French and British forces, I think, were pushed out to like the ocean. They were surrounded by the Germans, and then the Germans were like pushing right up to the water, and then the Luftwaffe, the German Nazi airplanes, were coming down and bombing them. And there were leaflets on the ground in the street, and it said, it had like a map on it, and it said, "We surround you," and it had Nazi whatever.
Yeah.
Just to like just to fuck with their heads, I guess.
It is. It's a demoralization tactic. It can be used for a lot of different things. The psyops kind of stuff, the leaflets, like we dropped them over in the like Middle East, like pretty much saying we are coming here to take down the Iraq military or whatever, what have you.
So you served in the Air Force during the Iraq War?
I was in there from 2001 to 2005.
Okay.
So
thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you for your support.
I mean,
best time of my life. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so psychological. But that's what I think.
So it was right after 9/11, 2000.
So I joined pre 9/11.
Okay.
And then 9/11 happened like 2 weeks after I was in basic training. After I graduated basic training. So and like I wasn't like this, but like it was kind of funny. A lot of people joined, like because that was the most peaceful time we had. Like the last war we had was in Iraq and Desert Storm. In like 1991, it was like 38 days, and we like, there's been like football games that have lasted longer than that war,
right?
And we just roll through them, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna go to war again. If we do, it's gonna take a week and a half. Like
right.
It's like your 2-week tour in the reserves is going to war and winning it.
Yeah.
So people signed up, and then fucking 9/11 happened. And everyone's like, "Ooh, shit!" Like, and you saw it changed a lot of things. Yeah. So it's interesting to when you look at like the pre 9/11 versus post 9/11 military and stuff like that. And one of the most interesting things in my life forever will probably be the fact that I was there during that transition, and I didn't do shit. Like let me just clear that up. I didn't. I was in the Air Force. I was a readiness specialist. They called it. I essentially taught classes.
You taught classes.
I essentially taught classes about nuclear, biological, chemical warfare, and disaster preparedness. But
could you fly a plane?
No.
No,
I didn't even go in a plane. Fucking, if I like American Airlines, I was in those planes. But so I didn't do shit. Let me make that clear. Like I did my part. I did my job. But I wasn't like I wasn't like brushing camel spiders off my cock while I was fucking like I wasn't in the shit at all. So shit, to the people who were like those are the heroes.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them. But it was interesting just being there during that time when we were from like a peacetime military force to like a wartime, and we've essentially been in conflict since then with somebody for the most part until kind of recently.
I think it's just all a corporate driven military machine. Like we have to be at war at some level just to keep the feed the beast.
Well, I think it's once you're there, it's a lot of people get invested, and now look, I mean 20 years we've been invested in this conflict, and by invested I do mean invested. That there's people who make a lot of fucking money off there, and they don't want to lose that, and it's an unfortunate thing, but it's true. So fuck those people, by the way, too. Sure, fuck them.
The military.
Fuck them to death. No, not the military.
Not the personnel themselves, but just the military industrial complex.
The military, the MIC. Right. Yeah, drop the mic. Drop the military. I'm gonna make that a fucking slogan. Drop the mic, and the mic's going to stand for military industrial complex.
Dude, did you think of that?
Yeah, I just thought of that right now. Bro, I'm a fucking genius.
You heard it here first. Wordsmith, acronym,
drop the mic, drop the military. But it's a sick fucking thing that they have, And
I wonder about that too. I'm in healthcare.
Yeah.
And the thing I think about sometimes is, America, we get known for our healthcare being so expensive and everything else. And we are a fat country. No offense to anybody who's fat, but it's crazy and it's undeniable. Like you hear about people who like come in like from other countries.
Yeah.
And the first thing they notice is like, holy crap, look at all the fatties around. So like a big thing that's feeding into.
No, go on, David. Dave, please continue, David.
Fat bastard.
Let me turn the cake. Okay, you
have another piece of birthday cake, you fat.
Yeah, wait till we're in a survival situation. Your skinny ass lasts 3 days.
I eat like shit too.
You eating your own dick in fucking 2 days in the woods. This is survival weight.
I know.
This is survival weight. Shit's getting scary out there, man.
Okay.
Shit's getting scary out there, bro. If I'm in the woods for a week and a half, I survive. You die. You become a tree. You're plant. You're fertilizer for me in a week and a half.
But you could be slower. Like I could outrun you probably.
From what? Outrun what?
Bears?
You're gonna outrun a bear. Like
I can't.
I love that notion that the bear is gonna stop after me.
How fast can a bear run?
35 miles per hour.
Yeah, never mind.
And they can climb trees.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not talking about you, but like I'm talking about the Walmart scooter people.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
So, but like, okay, so for health
survival weight. Let me just make that clear.
I got it. So,
say it's survival weight.
Survival weight.
So I have some survival weight.
It's a reservoir.
Say, Chris, you have some survival weight, but
Chris,
others...
you have some survival weight. I'm not talking about you.
But others, I agree, yes.
But if you think about all the healthcare problems in the United States, like if you are overweight, you're probably pre-diabetic or diabetic.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a huge cost to the system. You're probably going to need... You're at high risk of cancer, heart disease. You're probably going to need a total joint replacement at some point in your life. Like as soon as you get to that unhealthy point, you're feeding into this machine that's a big moneymaker.
Oh yeah,
of healthcare. And I wonder if it's similar to military in terms of like keeping that going. Like obviously, advertisers and fast food, like that's never really been bigger. I mean, people eat like crap, and there's no. I'm not saying. I mean, they should be able to do what they want, but like. It's this consumer culture that's feeding into it, and it's just self-sustaining. Everybody talks about, look, let's have free healthcare. Well, no, how about we stop eating ourselves to death first? How about we take some responsibility for our own? Like a healthy person's way cheaper.
By far, and it is like, and there are certain things like I will make some contentions that like, it's. Fresh food can sometimes be more expensive and stuff, and I get that. But the larger point that you made, and I agree with you, is there's a disgusting amount of like the military industrial complex, the pharmaceutical companies, the healthcare companies.
Pharma's the other one.
A lot of those, like the disgust of like that high level machine that we're not part of. Mm-hmm. is the worst thing about
the Illuminati.
Yeah, that thing, the Illuminati. But like, yeah, those Bohemian Grove got jerking off the owl statues and all that shit, which we've all done, but. Not at that level.
Yeah, I have.
I've never done it with money being thrown at me.
We just have local meetings.
Yeah.
At the community center.
In the locker room and at the high school.
Yeah, where we grab him by the pussy.
But yeah, no, but you're right. I mean, there's a vested interest in keeping people at war. There's a
fat, happy,
and
ignorant,
sick, and it was a funny thing. And you're 100% right
on
about
their
like
phone.
And I'll make an announcement here in the podcast too. Starting September 1st, I'm initiating my second annual. So what happened? I lost a lot of weight last year. I lost like 15, 20 pounds in a month last year. 22 pounds in a month. But then I got a beautiful girlfriend who I love very much. Shout out to Kelly. And we did a dating thing. I put a lot of weight back on during the dating, but I'm doing it again this year. I got to get it back on because you do like you enjoy your like I love her to death. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. So I love like we go to restaurants, we travel, we enjoy. So I've put a lot of weight back on. So September 1st, and I'm making this announcement on purpose. September 1st, I'm starting the second annual Sober September Fitness Challenge. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm going to donate. So I do a lot of charity work with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation.
Yeah, I saw this on your Facebook.
Yeah, it means the world to me. It's actually how I started doing comedy. I'll circle back to that.
Okay.
Let me make the announcement. I'll circle back to that. Sure. I'm sure you want to hear this.
Yes.
So I'm gonna donate personally $5 per pound that I lose in the month of September to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and I'm gonna make a little Facebook group challenging others to do the same. Either join me in losing weight, staying sober during September, losing weight, whatever you want to do, the fitness challenge, and see who no one has to, but if they want to like join me in either losing weight or matching if you want to do $1 for every pound. So I'm gonna try to raise some money and do a fitness challenge. And
so
I know myself,
sober and losing weight.
Yeah,
is the two things?
The Sober September Fitness Challenge. Yeah.
Okay.
Because what I do, if I make it public, like if I put myself out there and I go like I'm gonna lose weight, and if I don't like being embarrassed.
Yeah.
So like.
Me neither.
Yeah, so fuck that. Like
you wouldn't know.
I don't mind being fat, but I hate being embarrassed. So if I put it out there in public, I'll commit to. Like I said last year, I lost 22 pounds in a month, and I wasn't like, I was never like morbidly obese. Like I don't like.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's like real fat person weight.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna do that again. So I'm gonna lose that weight.
Heck yeah.
But you're right.
Is it just do you sign up anywhere or do you?
I'm gonna make a Facebook group for it. I'll put it out there.
Okay.
I'm Chris Diorio on Facebook if you want to follow me. Or
I might join it. It might be easy for me though because I'm already sober. But
if you want, it's and I'm not like a drunkard, but yeah, it's just like a whole like Sober September. You lose some weight, you clear your mind a little bit, and it all goes to a good cause too, which kind of
There's different levels of sobriety too. You could be extreme, like no caffeine, weed if you're into that.
Yeah, no, I like drugs. I do. I love drugs are great. Yeah, but in moderation. Like
anything in moderation.
Yeah, but drugs are especially good in moderation. Like,
yeah, no, they are.
Yeah,
Louis C.K.'s got a good joke about that.
Yeah.
I never ever do drugs, never. So that when I do, it's all.
It's just, like ground beef in moderation is great, but like drugs in moderation is fantastic. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like I have cheese in moderation, great. I have cocaine in moderation.
Right.
It's fucking
Right. Dude, what is cystic fibrosis?
I've never had. So cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease that mainly affects the lungs and the pancreas. So the main thing is what it does is there's a mucus buildup. Your body, it's genetic, and your body creates mucus in both your lungs and your pancreas. Okay. So what that does, obviously, is you have issue breathing. Like it makes breathing hard. And then in your pancreas is kind of the one people don't really see as much or hear about, but you have trouble absorbing nutrients from like food and anything really. Yeah. So people with cystic fibrosis, one from the top, it's considered an orphan disease, meaning that less than 35,000 people, I believe, in the U.S. have it. Okay. So circling back to what we said before, and this is the harsh reality, so less than 35,000 people have it. So because of that, there's zero federal funding that goes towards research for drugs to cure cystic fibrosis.
Yeah. And statistically, that's very tiny.
Yeah, it is. So, and I get it. So if you're a pharmaceutical company and you're going to go like, why would I spend millions and millions of dollars, it's the harsh reality of life, to develop a drug that only 35,000 people are going to be able to buy?
Yeah, the ROI is not there. Yeah.
So through fundraising, like personally, people like me and my friends in the foundation, through fundraising, that's where all the money goes for research and stuff like that. So we do a lot of fundraising every year for the foundation. So that's how I started doing stand-up. Is 2 years ago in June, the Charlotte Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, the director of the chapter up there, her name's Gretchen, does an event until last year, obviously, but called LOL for CFF. And what it was is you take 4 people who've never done stand-up before, and you go, look, are you willing to do 5 minutes of stand-up at an open mic competition? And it's just the four of you in the open mic competition. It raises money for charity. And what it is your friends are like, okay, I'm going to go. I got to see this because it's like you want to find people who are, maybe a little funny naturally. And you're like, either they're going to eat shit and I'm going to laugh at their misery, or they might actually be pretty funny.
Yeah.
So so it raises I think it raised $3,000 or something last time we did it.
Yeah.
So so I did it in 2019. I've been involved with the foundation since mid 2018.
So you were one of the people that performed there?
Yeah.
But you were already part of the foundation before that, though.
Yeah. But I didn't know about this comp until Gretchen's like, "Hey, I think you'd be good at this." So, I'll give it a shot, right?
Yeah.
And
had you ever performed anything before that?
I did some improv.
Okay.
Prior to that, but
in what capacity?
I did. So when I was in Connecticut, I took some improv courses, and then kind of funny enough, when I went down here, like right prior to finding out that this competition existed, I signed up for some improv classes in Charlotte.
Okay.
But I'd never done stand-up.
So why did you sign up for improv classes?
I thought I was funny. So I went to one. I went to one down here. When I was in Connecticut, I actually got confused. This is how dumb I am. I thought I was signing up for stand-up classes, and it was actually improv classes.
Oh, gosh.
And I went there, and I was like, okay, this is weird. And I also seen it on The Office. I thought it was funny. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, Michael Scott's improv
Yeah,
class.
I wanted to do that. I wanted to pull fake guns on people.
Michael Scott.
Yeah. So then I went down here, and I signed up again for improv classes. I went to a show in Charlotte at the Charlotte Comedy Theater. And I saw an improv show, and it was hilarious. Mm-hmm. And after the end of the show, they're like, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing this? We offer classes, and if you take our classes, you can get on stage here." I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. That looks fun." So it's funny. I'd signed up for improv classes, and I think they just started when I got invited to do the stand-up competition.
Okay.
But so I did the LOL for CFF, the fifth. It was the fifth one of it, and ended up winning.
Heck yeah.
And Todd Riley, shout out Todd Riley. Todd Riley's a national touring headlining comic out of Charlotte.
Okay.
Based out of Charlotte. Great guy. Good friend of mine now.
Uh-huh.
He was and then like in addition to the 4 open mic comics, they'll bring back a previous winner to do like 5 or 10 minutes themselves. Okay. And then they'll always have like a real comic like headline it, who's capable of like, that if we all shit the bed, at least somebody makes them laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
So Todd was the headliner. So Todd came up to me after the show. He's like, "Was that your first time doing stand-up?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Pretty good."
This was at the
CF, the LOL CFF, and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Did you enjoy it?" I said, "I had a fucking blast." He's like, "You want to keep doing it?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, keep getting up there." He goes, "Start hitting some mics and whatever." Yeah. So I said, "Yeah, cool." So he kind of pointed me in the right direction.
Aren't those little moments great?
One of my favorite moments, yeah.
Like when that one in particular is great, but it is anytime there's a comic that like has been doing it longer that says, "Yeah, you got a little something."
Yeah,
like
and
that alone can
was fantastic.
That can make you survive.
It's one of the reasons. It got me up there like for the second, third, fourth, fifth time. Actually, the second time I ever did stand up, it was great because I'm going to shout out all my people here.
Yeah, please.
So I did it with Todd, and then I took a couple weeks to like find a show, right? Because like you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
And then I did my second show, and Tara Brown, another comic out of Charlotte, another touring headlining comic out of Charlotte, was a headliner on that show, and they put up a YouTube video of the show, and she shared my set, and she goes, "You got to check out Chris Diorio. He's hilarious." And I was like, because like I'd watched her perform, and I'm like, I was enamored with like how funny she was, and then when she did that, I was like, oh my god, like
that was after your second show.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a thing now,
dude.
So I kept going and whatever, and then serendipitous is that. Well, first off, and then I want to give another shout out here. This purple bracelet you see on my wrist. This is the bracelet says Cure CF. Ava's Angels. Ava is a child who has CF. Her mother's April Apes. Gave me this bracelet on the day of LR for CFF, and never taken it off.
Wow.
Yeah, since that day.
You've never. Wait, what?
No, I.
How long ago was that?
2 years and 2 months.
You've
ago.
had that rubber band on your arm for 2 years?
Yeah, I'll never take it off.
Do you have like a tail line on? Well, you're white like me, so maybe not.
Yeah, no, I'll never take it off.
You're committed.
Yeah, no, it's like my good luck charm. So I've taken it off before, I used to take it off the shower, and actually, so it's not the original. The original one broke. But,
oh yeah, I'm yeah.
Yeah, but this bracelet's been on, and then one day I took it off the shower and I couldn't find it, and I had a show that night, and I'm like, I'm not doing the fucking show without this bracelet.
Did you really?
I was freaking out.
Did you stop?
I found it. No, I found it, but I was like, I was freaking out. I'm like, I'm not gonna do the show without the bracelet. This is my.
Do you remember those Lance Armstrong bracelets?
Yeah,
that was such a huge thing in the '90s, early '90s.
Yeah, it was great until.
People were,
but
until
and then sort of serendipitous. This earlier this spring, I ended up touring with Todd as his feature on the little like Southeast tour we did. So it's like the first time I did stand up, he was like the guy who kind of said like get out there. Yeah. And then 2 years later, I'm doing 20, 25-minute shows with him.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
cool.
Came full circle.
Yeah.
It's funny what you said about not having the bracelet before the show. I would
fucking freak out.
Yeah, dude. I don't have like a good luck charm before I go on stage, but like,
yeah, obviously,
I have a couple of things that. What do you mean? Obviously.
No, go ahead, man.
No, but there's certain things like I need to have. I need to have like my little tripod. I need to have my set list with notes. I don't always take notes up there, but I like to at least have it with me at the table. And for some reason, I lose pens all the time. If I can't find a pen, or like I can't have my setup, or I don't have like my routine, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do the show. I like freak out.
I had a favorite pen for a while, and it ran out of ink, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm over it. Like, yeah. But I do have
I need those little things to calm me down, though.
I like having depending how long my set's gonna be, I like to have a double shot of whiskey, a double bourbon.
Okay, and so you'll take a little.
Yeah, and I'll start sipping it like before I go on stage. Get about halfway down before I go on stage. Just enough to like, you know.
Yeah. Take a little of the edge.
Just a little, like, you know, every time before. Especially like, you know, you get numb to it at a certain point with certain crowds, but whenever you're in front of like a big crowd or like a show that you care about, like you should get nervous, I think, like to a degree, because you care about it, right? If you don't get nervous, it's like why are you here? Why do you care?
Yeah, I always have a little bit.
Yeah, but it pops you down a little bit, and then on stage, I like to have a beverage with me.
Yeah.
As I like.
Alcoholic beverage or none?
I prefer to have like my whiskey, like my, so as I'm on stage,
who's that? Rob White that does that?
Stuff like that. He does that too a little bit. Yeah. It's definitely an image thing too, like a little bit. Is like
for him, for all we know, that could be fake. That could be
I do enjoy it. It does calm the nerves. I love whiskey. I do. I love drinking whiskey. I'm a cowboy, man. Like I go up there, I just sling jokes and fucking drink whiskey and like that. So I like it, but it is part of like maybe the image too. Is like
It's so weird. I think I have a couple of phases before a show. Like I get nervous probably like an hour before, and then the closer it gets, the more I'm just like, all right, I'm sick of waiting. Get me up there. Like I want to get up there.
The wait is what kills you.
The wait sucks, dude. The other thing pisses me off more. This happens at open mics more commonly. I mean, on book shows, you know when you're going, but like sometimes like it'll be a list and the list will get changed at the last minute, and so like people get put ahead of you, or people get shifted around, and you think you're gonna go a certain time, and then it's not you, and then I'm like, yeah, that really pisses me off, but yeah, man.
Or like the ones that are wear and tear on the audience, like when you're the 25th guy or something like that.
Yeah, you and I both went late last night.
Yeah,
I went dead last.
But again, like I love the opportunity. Like love to do it.
I do too. I like going last because it's a different vibe. I had to address the energy of the room, which was basically nothing, and tell them, look, I feel bad for you for having to sit through it. It means so much to me that you stayed. Blah, blah, blah.
But shout out to what they're doing there, though. Again, like shout out to Brandon and Momo over there. Like everybody involved in that Comedy Zone open mic there, because Jokes Out Loud. Shout out to Jokes Out Loud.
Yeah, man. Go follow it. Jokes Out Loud on Instagram.
Huge props to them, because they did it like with the online sign up format and stuff like that. It really it weeds out like some of the worst parts of open mics, because what is really sucky when you go there and like there's 25 people on the list, fine, but like 5 of them are guys who just like walked by and they're like, oh, open mic comedy sounds cool, I'll try that, and they go up there. And they even said last night, like, if you're up there for 2 minutes, you start with this whole like, I don't know what I'm gonna say here, man. What else should we talk about? And like, get off the stage. You're not here to like,
do your set.
Yeah, it's not your show. No one paid to see you.
Do jokes.
Like, try your jokes out. You're here to try out jokes. It's Jokes Out Loud.
Right.
Not conversation with the audience out loud.
No, it's a good point. And
I like that. And they're doing a great thing. And I love them.
Absolutely. And running an open mic or running a show, I mean, it's impossible to please everybody. There's always going to be a high demand for spots and probably not enough spots. But yeah, I agree, man. They're
I mean, there can never be enough spots, which is a good thing to a degree, but also like, and like you said, sometimes you get the chance to like, if you're in a local scene long enough and you've contributed to the scene and you become a staple in the scene, you pull that card sometimes of like, and that should be the way. Like you should like some of the bigger clubs you get past at.
Yeah.
Like getting past at certain clubs, like you have a little bit of like
getting residency or whatever.
Yeah. So like Broadway, I had Broadway, and
you got past there, right?
Yeah.
Congrats,
thank you, man. But it's cool like to have that kind of system where like like you earned a little bit of like the ability to call some, but.
That would be cool to have here one day. I don't know if it's a big enough scene yet, but that's a fantasy I have in my head of like if Greenville continues to grow, one as a city, so more population, and two as a comedy scene. If we could have comedy at a club like Comedy Zone more nights of the week, that where we have regulars who are past. That would be so cool to me. I don't think we're there yet, but that's a fantasy to me.
You have it to a degree. I mean, you guys have it a lot better than like some other, but like just having the weekly.
How would you compare Greenville to other places? Like, because I know you've traveled a lot.
Yeah, I like it a lot actually. Like Greenville again, like it's
Charlotte. Is it Charlotte's a bigger scene? I bet.
Well,
it's a bigger city.
Yeah. Charlotte's really good for and again, that's why I came up through Charlotte, and I still am. But it's a good scene for we have the headquarters of Comedy Zone is in Charlotte, like East Coast Entertainment Comedy Zone is in Charlotte. So that's like the sort of like flagship for the Comedy Zone franchise. So they do.
Oh, that is the Comedy Zone.
Yeah, that's the comedy, like that's the flagship kind of one. It's the big one. So
okay,
that's where all the big names come through. So it doesn't have as much of like a. Currently, like a local show, like you guys have out here, like the weekly Jokes Out Loud thing.
Yeah, dude, I was disappointed. I was signed up for an open mic in Charlotte earlier this month, and it got canceled. And then it was like that's postponed indefinitely. That may never come back.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why. I'm not gonna like, but it's not there. Like, for whatever reason, it's not there, and that's the thing. But we have a great scene for like showcases, like the bar shows and the and some of the theater shows they do, like that are showcase shows. Great scene for that. It's the whole comedy trope or whatever like that is you build up to like a feature set, and then you can hit the road
like 15-20 minute.
Yeah, your first like 20-25
20-25 is what you need.
So the common what I've been told is and I think this is true, once you have like 30 solid, you have 20 because you never know.
Right.
And that's when you can start hitting the road a little bit, I think. But so Charlotte's a great place to like, I think get your first, get to your first feature set. Because there's a ton of like, you have like so much knowledge there of like, because the Comedy Zone is there. Like Joel Pace runs the Comedy Zone there.
Yeah.
They run a class there. Joel Pace is like one of the head bookers for East Coast Entertainment. Like you have the guy who's seen like some of the greatest comics on the planet,
Joel Pace,
for 20 years. Yeah, great guy.
Shout out Joel Pace.
He's like a mentor of mine. So that's like great. I've got to learn from Joel Pace and stuff like that. But they're also kind of no nonsense with you there too. They're like, you're not.
If you suck, they'll tell you.
If you suck, they'll tell you, and they're not going to just book you for like to make you feel better. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a good place to think to like get your first like 20 minutes, like get your feature set on and hit the road, and then start like building up your material on the road, which is great for that. So, and that's how I think most scenes are, to be honest with you, is you start. You incubate in like a scene, and you get to the point where you're ready to fly away.
Yeah,
and you got to start flying away.
Incubator. That's a good. That's a good metaphor.
Yeah, thank you.
Because you're kind of in a protected environment
and you have
where
like
it's supportive, but also
like we have some great like Don Garrett. Shout out to Don Garrett.
Yeah, I got to get him on. We messaged a little bit about doing it.
Potty Padula, Will Austin. Lauren Ansley, Chris Corrado.
Chris Corrado, dude.
Producing shows out there.
Yeah.
Tons of opportunity to get out there and do your thing. And like
Rock Hill, right? Chris Corrado's the Rock Hill
like
guy. I met him one time at a show in Orangeburg.
Yeah, Chris Corrado, Don Garrett, Will, Potty, Lauren, those guys. Like I want to be where I'm without those guys because they give you the opportunity to do those shows and you do they'll give you 10 minutes.
Dude, those shows make you better. They got to. I mean, Corrado shows,
they're ruthless,
dude. Yeah, and I didn't mean it,
but
like,
it's nice.
I think it's like part of the identity of just this toughness mentality. He has those T-shirts, I think, that say "I survived a Corrado show." Yeah. It's like in the bar, get their attention. Nothing set up given in terms of
and some of the shows like a lot of the shows some are showcases and they're great. Like the audience is sitting there, they're there to see comedy. They usually does free shows and then gets tips, but then other shows, it's fucking the Wild West.
Those shows make you tough as nails, man. I like them.
The Wild West shows are great. He's got some that you just go up there and it's like you versus the audience. Yeah. But they're there to he cultivates that.
Yeah.
He's like, not he says it. He's like, yeah, go ahead and fuck with my comics, see what happens.
Well,
and if you survive,
cool. It's cool that he has that though. I think it may be. I'm just speculating because I don't know him, but he's got a past career in fighting, like MMA and stuff.
He's a boxer. He's a boxer.
Boxer. That's what. It was. Yeah, and that toughness.
He's got a brand to his shows though, and it's cool. Like a karate show. It's a thing now. Like a karate show.
I
you could do a karate show, and it's like it could be in a dive bar in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Where
the show I met him at, it wasn't his show. It was your Uncle Boudreaux's, but it was the worst set I've ever had in my life.
Just crazy, right? It was like a wild.
Well, I opened. It was like this biker bar.
Yeah.
And I think I was pretty new into comedy at the time, and I didn't know how to pull out of it. I just did my material, so I didn't have the
me neither.
skills that I do now that are developing to say this is not the environment. This is not a club. Because after I went on, I think nobody else did material. I think they just did crowd work for literally their entire sets.
It's good to know enough, do enough of those shows. And because I think I've done every one of his rooms now, some of them multiple times. I love Chris Corrado shows. Love them.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be where I am without his shows.
Right.
And you learn sometimes it is you versus the audience, and you can't. They don't want to hear fucking, especially my one-liners. They're not there to hear one-liners. They want to fuck with you.
Yeah.
So you can't just build a
you
setup.
Need to give them
it's
shit.
You versus. It's okay, motherfucker.
Stand in.
Hey, listen up, and you start going at them. But then when you are doing your normal set, and you have to dismount because either something's happening in the crowd, or it is a rowdy crowd, or they're just
you're able to without
bored. Yeah, you're like okay, I've been here before. It's it's like practice. You know what I'm saying? It's
totally.
So you just dismount off your set and you start.
Yeah, and you're more free to.
Yeah, you
go in and out of your act without people being aware that you're doing it.
Yeah, and as a newer comic, same thing. I'm only 2 years in. I'm not a fucking veteran either. But it's at first, all I knew how to do was do my material.
Right.
Even as guys done improv before, you start doing stand up and you get there's blinders. I got to do my material. Especially when you take it seriously, because you're I want to do my material.
Right.
But then sometimes shit goes sideways.
Yeah.
And you don't have the opportunity to just do your material, and and deer in the headlights sometimes. I think we were talking last night, and you said some of the questions you ask sometimes is what's your most embarrassing moment?
Most embarrassing moment, biggest dumpster fire.
So
let's do it. Yeah,
I'm gonna do it. So it's and it's a great example. It's a good segue. I don't use segues and jokes only in podcasts.
It's all non sequiturs.
Yeah, I fucking love them. But which is also So I did a show. I got booked to do a guest spot on a really nice show.
Mm-hmm.
One of the I think I was 4 months in the comedy, maybe 5 months in the comedy, and I knew
pretty early.
Yeah, and I knew enough to So I get there and I asked the headliner. I'm like, hey, I just want to make sure that is there anything you want me to stay away from, material wise, but I had 10 minutes. I had 10 minutes of material.
That's a lot for 4 months.
Which, and that's a stretch. I had 10 minutes of material.
10 minutes of...
I'd done 10 minutes. I got lucky.
New comedian material.
I got lucky because a couple months in, I did the comedy battle in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And I stars aligned, and then I ended up winning. I got second place overall, and I won the Audience Choice and Judges Choice Awards. So that put my name out there a little bit, where I started getting opportunities to do more time than I should have as somebody that young into comedy.
Yeah, okay.
I had 10 minutes because I was given the opportunity to do 10, 15 minutes a lot, because one, I had those a little bit of a name, and two, I
pushed yourself in accordance with
so
the
I did have 10 minutes.
That's pretty cool, man.
But I had 10 minutes. I didn't have anything else. I didn't have 10 minutes. I didn't have 11 minutes. I had 10 minutes.
Okay.
If it went well. I had 10 minutes if it went well. If there's no one was laughing, I had 6 minutes, right? But so I get up there and I just start doing and the crowd hates me. Yeah. And I hadn't really experienced this yet. They hated me. But I didn't have anywhere else to go. So I had to sit there and just eat shit for 10 minutes because I had no other way to like. I didn't have any other material to go to. I didn't have the crowd work, like, and I was so deep into this.
You couldn't acknowledge the sentiment of the room, so you just.
I didn't even know I didn't have the talent to do that, and I was so like,
thing that happened. Yeah.
I was so like, and at the time I was doing so like, so I started like I got really like things took a corner for me. I started like writing one-liners. That's where I really like started turning the corner and like had some success because I think I'm a good writer, so I'm good at writing one-liners. But I got really deep into like the non sequitur, deadpan one-liner thing. Yeah, and they just weren't buying that. Right. And there's a certain degree because like I wasn't being myself on stage either.
Yeah.
I've since transitioned. Like I do one-liners still mostly, but I'm like more animated. I'm more myself, just telling jokes up there. But anyway, so they're just not buying the whole like deadpan Stephen Wright, Justin like dead. Yeah. And there's not. And they hated me, and I had nowhere else to go. So I just sat there and ate shit for 10 minutes. And then the headliner, who's hilarious, he's basically a cartoon character. He's fucking funny as hell. Mm-hmm. But it's totally different. Like, and I'm like, I get it. I'm like, they came to see this because he's the headliner, and they were expecting like his show. They're here to see him, and it was like they bought tickets to see Shrek 2, and had to watch like Saw 4 as one of the previews. Like why the fuck are you showing me this preview for Shrek 2? Like, why am I seeing people go through it? And that's what it was like. But
dude, that's great.
Yeah, it was.
That reminds me of a lot of things. Gosh, have you ever seen the documentary Too Funny to Fail on Hulu? Okay, I highly recommend it. I won't go into it too much, but essentially, the Dana Carvey show. I don't know if you remember this show.
Yeah, dude, I remember it existing.
Yeah, it existed very briefly, but the documentary is all about that show. It only lasted one season, and Dana Carvey was known as like this, kind of family-friendly, church lady, all his impressions kind of guy on SNL. Everybody tuned in to see that, and he was like a rock star when he left SNL. And he was given the rights to do his own show in a primetime slot on ABC on Thursday night. And he basically had complete creative freedom to do whatever he wanted. But Dana Carvey, he was like, I've done all that, cheesy stuff. And cheesy to him, but it's really funny. So he hired Louis C.K., Steve Carell, Stephen Colbert. He had a bunch of just all-stars on this cast. They're like, we want to be as funny as possible. So they were just savages, like stuff that we would find funny. But it was on a primetime slot and was right after Home Improvement. So the first sketch they did was Bill Clinton, because they wanted to do a Dana Carvey impression, because that was what they figured. Okay, we'll ease him in. Dana Carvey does impressions. So they did a sketch of Bill Clinton breastfeeding puppies on live TV. And he pulled his shirt open and he had like 8 nipples down his chest, and they were just giving him puppies, like real puppies, drinking milk out of it. So they set a record for most TVs turned off in a single window.
Was the deal that Bill breastfed them before Hillary killed them to make coats out of them?
Something like that. Yeah.
Is that really what it was?
Well, something like that. They cut away, and it was like a closed circuit TV of Hillary like being locked in a room, like, come on, like, let me in, like, he's like, I'm not just the father of America, I'm also his mother.
That's fucking.
I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. Dude,
that's fucking great.
But like the Home Improvement crowd, like that would be like the crowd that was there to see your comedian. That was like the cartoon. They weren't expecting to see
especially like
edgy shit.
Especially like my early like deadpan dark like the extra darkness to it. It wasn't just dark jokes. It was like dark jokes with like a dark demeanor.
Yeah,
and it was like it was like that 98% cacao. Like super dark. Like black coffee.
I try to pull off both. I try to be goofy and likable, and then trick you into laughing at shit that's horrible.
That was the biggest mistake I was making. Is like, the jokes were fortunately good enough that I had some success in them. But the biggest mistake I was making is I wasn't myself up there, like on stage. I was like, and that's the thing everyone tells you, and like you're like, no, I'm fine. But then, like you realize, like, oh, they're all right. You have to like be yourself on stage. You still write jokes, like but you got to be like,
if yourself, and part of yourself is liking edgy, inappropriate humor sometimes.
Yeah,
that's
but
part
also
of,
like
part of who you are.
And again, I have a great fucking life. I just find shit funny. Like I like making fun of things. Like but so like when I went to like that's not me. Like if you were to talk to me in real life, you'd be like, well, who's this character you're doing?
Right.
Well, now I'm on stage and I try to do more like, I'm myself telling those jokes, not like some character telling those jokes,
Yeah, totally.
And that's where advice to young
that's
comics.
to me why a bomb hurts so bad. And I didn't think of this point, but another comic did. I forget who it was. It was on some documentary or whatever. But it's not just it doesn't go well. It's like it doesn't go well because they didn't like you. It's not even like the joke's failing. It's like a judgment on your soul. Like, I don't like you. I don't like you. Because if they liked you and you sucked, they would still be like you could feel that. But if you bomb, they don't like you.
I agree with that, but I also have the philosophy of that. And again, I'm not a fucking, but like, there's a way to, you can be yourself on stage, but also if you really want to like do this, you can't play it safe, and you can play it safe and be likable on stage.
No, I agree totally.
And be like, I'm just gonna pander every time I do stand up.
Oh yeah,
and you're never gonna get anywhere because you're.
No, I totally agree.
To be like. That guy was cool. He was fine. He was funny. Yeah. He found him funny. But they're not gonna like nobody's gonna leave. I have this like thing. It's like look, like there's 350 million people in America that have all been vaccinated according to Joe Biden. No, there's 315 million people in America.
Right.
And man, it's like man, if you go to a show and like let's say there's 100 people at the show, right? And there's just let's say 90 of if 90 of them laugh. Like you get your 6 to 8 laughs per minute out of 90 of them, right? And that's what you aim for, right? That'd be great. 5 of them might hate you.
Yeah.
But if 5 of them love you and they go, that's my jam. That's the guy I like to see. And you can do that enough times over the course of like your building up your comedy career, you're gonna have a pretty successful career. If you
That's
can get,
a good point.
Like there's if 90 people go like they're because nobody has the same favorite. Who's your favorite comic?
Louis C.K.
I mean, mine too. So
really?
You ruined the fucking show for us. We're doing so well. I'm saying, but very few people. Very few people like have this. If you ask 10 people who their favorite comic is, you're not going to get 10 people to say the same answer, right?
Yeah.
100 people, right? You might get 5 will say Louis C.K. maybe, right? Again. So I'm not saying
5 of the smart people say Louis C.K.
Exactly, but I'm not saying like we're going to be Louis C.K. But it's like comedy's also subjective, and it's like they don't.
What comic do you hate the most?
Ooh, that guy opened those.
Me, you.
No. I hate. It's hard to say hate. No, it's not hard to say hate. I hate. So first off, anyone who like the known joke thieves, like those guys, I just have no respect for like someone who would steal jokes, right?
Okay, but let's eliminate those because that's an easy one to hate.
I hate the comics, and I won't name names, but you'll find them. I hate the comics who will throw their fellow comics under the bus in order to give themselves a head.
Oh yeah. I don't
and like, so Louis C.K. is a great example, right?
Yes.
The number of people who were friends with him, and granted, he did a shitty thing.
Yeah.
But so like Louis C.K. the person, right? Fine, did what he did. Louis C.K.'s work of his foundation of stand-up he did, like his
body of work,
chewed up in those specials he did.
Incredible.
You can't. And people who like would call him a genius for, I never thought he was funny anyway. Like that Louis, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut up. And like the people who will do that and like will pop onto some trend, or they think like, here's my more of like my comedy pet peeve, right? Is you're not going to get ahead by putting somebody else down.
Yeah.
That's not going to put you ahead.
Yeah.
It's not a crabs in a bucket thing. You're not going to pull me down and climb over me.
Yeah.
That's not how you're going to get it. You have to climb either faster than me or with me.
Uh-huh.
You can't pull me down and climb over me. That's not going to happen.
Right.
And the whole like idea that, oh, if I kiss this comic's ass, or if I go with some trend going on, someone's going to go, this guy's got the right idea. Let's make him famous. That's not
pretty easy to spot. It's pretty easy to tell if somebody's a kiss ass versus not.
And the trend amongst like, there are some famous comics now who jump on certain band, like this.
Yeah.
They'll come on and
like Ari on Rogan. I don't think he's bandwagon jumping at all, but Ari is so edgy that I love that that Rogan supports him.
Yeah. And
Ari's amazingly hilarious. I love both of them.
Because it takes and that's the thing. It's almost like it's a code of thieves almost, right? It's like I know Rogan had the best, and I think he had the best take on like the Louis controversy. He's like, sure, like. But separate the man from like what he did on stage and stuff like that, and it's like when he was doing his comeback tour, and he got caught up in like somebody filmed one of his earlier, like we were saying, like sometimes people don't like you on stage. Well, sometimes you're trying to work out a thought on stage into a joke.
Yeah, and it was the Parkland shooting bit, right?
And you're not there again. Like you're trying to find the intricacy, the nuance. Even with one-liners, there's like a nuance of it, like it ain't joke, even if it's so. Sometimes like people will hate a joke or hate you, but it's like they haven't you're trying to explain something, like you find something funny. That's what it is. It's like something hits your brain. You go, that's funny. And comedy is explaining to everyone else why it's funny. Yeah. But sometimes it's hard.
And it takes time to connect, because it might be amazing instantly. It's just how do you communicate the idea in a concise way that an audience will trigger a laugh that they understand it exactly.
Yeah, so we all heard this special. Like he had that joke where like about like a fat kid in the park.
Throwing the fat kid in front of the shooter.
And
like why are we listening to this dude on CNN? All he did was throw a fat kid in the way.
Yeah, but when we first working the joke out, like as a comic, you can't be on stage like, no, you don't get it, you don't get it. See, here's why it's funny. Here's why it's funny. You can't do that as a comic. But that's like what happens in real life when you find something funny and you're trying to explain to other people why it's funny. Like I don't get why is that funny. You're like no, because he's fat. But
I'm pretty sure in that recording he was getting laughs.
He was, but some people were like, that's not. But again, like to find it universally or almost universally, because then. The same rule I said before: 100 people will see you, 5 are going to hate you. Right. If you're doing your job, I think. But yeah, because comedy's taking those things and explaining why it's funny to other people who don't have your brain, right? And that's what makes comedy great.
So this is getting back to the answer to the question of the comics that annoy you are the ones that will put another comic down.
Yeah, like the virtue signal.
Yeah, dude.
Like
so this is
I'm going to get famous by jumping on a band. Like I'm going to go with the crowd here.
Yeah. And, I was more asking about just the comic that kind of annoys you, not like but also I did want to give an answer though about
Tig Notaro.
Who?
Tig Notaro.
I don't know who that is.
She good. Like just the classic example is like she did some like she's funny. She does some like she's like a deadpan kind of one-liner kind of comic. Yeah. She's the first one to attack. She's been attacking other people. Okay. And there's an article about this person I read recently, like someone in the Montreal community who's like putting other comics down because of like perceived like calling other comics bigots and stuff like that, and it's like Tig Notaro I hate, and I'm also not a huge fan of Tig Notaro.
The same one.
I don't like when somebody takes a thing and makes it a thing for an hour either. Like
like a very shallow character.
Yeah.
And just rides it. Yeah, I agree with that. The one comedian that I actually took a shot at, which is nobody freaking knows because it's this show, but is Pete Davidson.
Yeah. Pete, great example.
Because did you see his special on Netflix where for the first 10 minutes, all he's doing is telling a story about Louis C.K. and he's just shitting on him in a timely manner right after Louis had gotten canceled for his thing in a very It was
a comedy. There was no jokes there. He just like he was trying to like. That's the fuck Pete Davidson. And anyone trying to like. Anyone trying to like you're not even comedy. They're just like trying to like put themselves. I feel bad
saying that too because he is funny. I mean, I've seen him on SNL sketches and I've laughed.
Yeah, he's got a weird face, and if somebody else goes like,
he's got butthole eyes.
Yeah, you put enough great comedy writers in a room and say, look at this guy's fucking weird face, make him funny. No problem. I'll make Pete Davidson funny in a fucking heartbeat. The guy looks like a fucking whited out jack-o'-lantern. Like he's a terrible looking human.
His dad died in 9/11.
He's a goblin.
And he's been riding that train.
Yeah, exactly.
And if his dad, 9/11 didn't happen.
He's a goofy, ugly, and he cried when he got broke. He cried when a girl broke up with him.
He did?
Remember that? Pete Davidson? Yeah. He went to he turned his hair purple and went to a fucking rehab. Give me a fucking break. Fuck him. Yeah, fuck Pete Davidson.
I mean, I've cried over a couple. I'm just kidding. Well, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, you do it. You do it in your apartment. You're like a man.
Yeah.
You drink some fucking vodka and you pass out on the floor.
In the privacy of your own home.
And you cry in the fetal position like a fucking man.
Yeah.
You don't go on national TV with a new hair.
You bury that shit.
Yeah, you
hide your emotions.
Yeah, you don't fucking go on national TV with purple hair talking. I have to go cry into my money now. Fuck you. Fuck
Normalize male feelings.
Yeah, fuck Pete Davidson.
Yeah, dude.
Who else? Who else has done that? Anyone who does that.
Nate. Well, so this is another comedian that I just don't understand why he's funny, and I shouldn't say this because he's apparently amazing. But Nate Bargatze.
I think he's funny. I think Nate
Bargatze.
Yeah.
I don't know. I should watch more of
that's
his
fair.
stuff.
Again,
I just don't understand. It's not like I don't like him.
That's objective perspective.
He works hard, I think, and he's like amazingly successful. I just like.
Oh yeah, I don't like in that vein. Like I don't really find Sebastian Maniscalco very funny. I don't think Joe Coy. The fuck is? I don't find him funny at all. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get why they're like people think they're funny.
A lot of people don't like Jerry Seinfeld's new stuff.
I've never liked Jerry Seinfeld.
You haven't?
No, not really.
Oh, I love his,
but if someone's
his classic body of work.
If someone's like, is Jerry Seinfeld a great comic? Of course he fucking is. It's just not my vibe.
Right.
My goat is Louis C.K. I think Louis C.K. is the goat. And then like Chappelle is up there for me too and stuff like that. I just don't find. I never found Seinfeld very funny. Gaffigan too. Like I love Jim Gaffigan. I think he's one of the. And like,
in terms of clean,
it's one of those things I look at. Like I'm like objectively, this guy's fucking genius.
I don't get it. I don't get how he's so funny.
I get it. Like I get it. Like, but
in the same way, I don't get how Nate Bargatze isn't funny to me. I don't get how Jim Gaffigan is so freaking funny to me and squeaky clean.
Yeah, I respect the shit out of him. And Bargatze respect the shit. Seinfeld respect the shit out of him, like what he's done. Blah blah. He's objectively a great comic. My taste buds don't.
Yeah, I think Jerry's. When he did his special, I'm telling you for the last time, that was objectively hilarious to me, and I was worried about watching it. I didn't know if I'd like it because I loved the show. You got to go.
I got like 5 minutes.
You got 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, word. But yeah, anyway, Seinfeld, his newer stuff, I have a harder time just loving automatically. I want to give it an inside track to me liking it, but yeah, man, it's weird. Preferences.
I found this about myself as a way to sort of put this into perspective when it comes to comedy. If I were to take a comics bit, like their material, and you printed it out on paper, and if I was able to read it and laugh, those are the comics I tend to like.
Well,
and if
this is Jerry Seinfeld, every bit he's ever written.
Really, I don't know.
So you can put that to the test at some point.
Whereas, like, if they have to, like, and look, I'm not saying this is not comedy. I'm not, but like a guy who like their performance is part of the comedy. I just tend to personally not have as much like love or affinity for that kind of.
Okay.
Like so Kevin Hart, for example.
Yeah,
like,
Kevin Hart's energy carries his material.
He's fucking hilarious, but he'll say something like, if I said it, he's like, I went home and my mom was like, Kevin, go to your room. I'm like, that's not funny. But he's like, he's like, I came home, Kevin, go to your room, and like everyone's laughing, and I'm like, I get it, like he's funny. I'm laughing too, but if like it's just not my like.
Yeah, I get it. I think there is, and this is just my perspective, my 2 cents, but I think there is both intertwined. I think the performative part, like you can do a lot.
Oh, you have to be.
You can do a lot with a look. You can do a lot with a pause. You can do a lot with an act out. But I agree what you're saying. I think I hear what you're saying. If it's so much reliant on the performative, and the technical aspect of the joke isn't there, you don't have as much of an appreciation. That's what you're.
I appreciate it. It's just not my cup of tea. It's like when you say
you want it to be a good ass point. That to me, that's why Louis.
It's like a blondes versus brunettes thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you're a blonde guy, great. Or
right.
ass versus tits.
But to me, that's why Louis is the GOAT. Is because, like you said, I'm stealing your phrasing, but I think so because he has both. I mean, all of his bits, like.
It's something like, again, this like, everyone wants to fucking like label you as like some sort of weird person when you think like this, but I love that he can take. To me, it's so brilliant to me when someone can take something that like you'll see it and everyone's like, oh, can't joke about that.
Yeah.
And Louis goes, hold my
beer.
penis.
Hold my dick.
No, hold my beer.
Oh yeah, yeah. That'd be yeah. I totally. It's the morning. I totally went over my head. That was a good joke.
That's fantastic. But
he's like, hold my dick.
He did that monologue on Saturday Night Live about the comparing child molesters to candy bar flavor.
I did not see that one.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch it. He did it on
SNL.
Yeah, he's like child molesters. They know they're gonna get in trouble, but they still do it. He's like, which means it must be the greatest thing in the world to them. And he's like, I don't want to do the bit. I don't want to ruin the bit, but you gotta watch it. And But he compares child molesters like in children to normal people like in candy bars. Okay. And it's fucking brilliant. Yeah. And you're like, this guy is on Saturday Night Live making a joke about child molesting. Yeah. And he's killing. Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, I just love that. And I like his act outs, his voices. He's very silly. He takes risks. To your point about taking risks earlier, man, like that's one of the biggest things that I mean, all stand-up comedians take risks. By doing it, it's a risk. But like the more you can push yourself creatively. And when Louis started to put out a new hour every year, I think he talks about that as a turning point in his career. So and especially, like you do shit like early on in your career, doing a lot of showcase shows, a lot of stuff like that where there's 10, 20 comics, and if 18 out of the 20 comics are fine, and one is horrible, and one's funny too, but in a different way, they might remember you more. And that's a perspective I have. For sure. I wanted to ask you one more practical question because it was this is self-serving, but also for any comics listening. Because you had said when you started doing traveling and started getting booked more on the road, you put together a press kit or what did you call it? EPK. It's, EPK. Yeah, you just so explain what this is and maybe walk us through, practically speaking. So you want to have a good, depending on what you're going for, like right, have at least a good, high quality audio and video, at least 5 minutes. Okay. Depending on what point you're at, right? So like if you're trying to get road feature gigs, you're gonna need 20 minutes, right? But you want to have a good, clean... You want to have a sample, though, of 5? Yeah, you want to have a 5-minute video, for especially like festivals and stuff like that. You want a good 5-minute video, at least. Like, clean audio, clean image, jokes from start to finish, not crowd work, not, now you go, so what's up tonight, guys? How's everyone doing? Good. Hey, what's up, brown shirt? None of that. Like, which is fine, but... Is a little bit of that okay? If it's just like less than 5 seconds of like it'll happen if you're funny, but like some people like show up to open mics and do crowd work and their whole thing is just like a minute because like a booker is going to be like, you're funny, but how do I know that, like, what if brown shirt guy's not in the crowd when you're on my show? Totally. Okay, so I get what you're saying. So a little bit of that, are you going to have that same and again, because to me a lot of times a good set does have acknowledgement of audience members as you segue into the next thing. Sure, okay, yeah, it's but I mean they say like, no, like you don't rely on crowd work. Like don't have like in your audition. You know what I'm saying? If they book you and you go up there and the crowd fucking loves you because you did some crowd work, they're gonna be fucking happy to clam with you. But they don't want to see you doing an audition with its crowd work. They want to hear your jokes. They want to know that you can do 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes from start to finish. So at least a good 5 clean. It doesn't have to be clean material if you're not trying to go to shows, because mine's not. But a good 5-minute tape to start, a headshot or 2, and a quick bio, and links to like social media. Okay. So bio, real quick bio. Like I think mine's paraphrase a little bit. It's like born and raised in Connecticut. Chris Diorio brings that signature Northeast wit to the stage with cagey wordplay and clever misdirection. He is a 2-time winner of the Elevate Lifestyle Magazine Favorite Comic Award and was recently featured on the 2021 Testing Negative Tour. And that's like my quick like bio that they're going to see on the thing. And then I'll have links to like my Facebook, my Instagram, and then I'll have, depending on the, like I have a 20-minute video now from a show I did. So I have a 20-minute video. And now, is that publicly available on YouTube, or is that only available for? You want to make it available to, it's an unpublished video on YouTube, or it could be I got what you're saying. So, because like you don't want the one where they have to request a link, because then like they might be like, fuck this, I'm not I'm not waiting for him to
email. A link that's clickable for those that you give it to, but not
but not the one with like request it and you have to grant permission.
No, I got you.
You want them to be able to click it and watch it.
A lot of my videos are private right now.
Yeah, and that's what you want.
Or unlisted.
That's what you want, because quite frankly, like, and this was told me too, it's like a good point, is like, people put shit on YouTube and it's like, none of us are famous yet.
Right.
And it's like, what's to stop, like, some guy in Texas comes across your video and goes, that's a fucking great joke.
Mm-hmm.
No one in Texas has seen this guy, and they start doing the joke, and then next thing you know, they're touring using your joke, and someone's like, dude, you stole a joke from the guy from Texas, So I keep stuff off unless like
I put stuff on and that is unpublished for myself. I also like to timestamp it, so if somebody does say,
that's a good point too. Yeah,
because hey, this was published here. When did you start doing that? Not that I'm really worried about anybody stealing my stuff.
No, but you never know. I mean, like you never know. You don't want like you put all the time and effort in something and like.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So what else do you have in the EPK?
That's it. That's your EPK, yeah.
So
bio.
What format does this take though? Is this like in an email?
It's an email, yeah.
In an email.
You could have a link. Once you get like, a little more, you could have a link. Some people just send a link to like a website, and you click on the website link, and on the website is your headshot, your bio, your links to your social media pages, and then maybe like once you have some like creds under you, you could have like some flyers of like you like headlining or something, like a quick, like easy, but you don't want to overwhelm them. They just want to see like your, there's levels to it. Like an EPK for someone like me, 2 years in trying to get on the road, they just want to see that I have 20 minutes of, 5 laughs per minute, average at least. I got a headshot, I got a bio. Then if you have any references, so like touring comics that could
references
know your name. So like I use like Todd, I'll use Todd and stuff like that.
So as a reference, does that you put their contact information on there? So these people are willing to be contacted by the booker?
Yeah, to a degree. Mine, I don't put their contact information on there. It's just like if my references aren't like, they're touring club comics. So it's guys who've done the club scene, and it's like they probably know them. If they don't, they'll probably like look them up. If they're that deep into it, I think they'll probably just be like, who's his references? Oh, this guy. Okay, I've never seen him, but okay, yeah, he's a national touring head. Okay, so like, and they might like contact him and be like,
right,
But most of the time,
you ask those guys like, hey, I'm going to list you as a reference on my EPK.
Yeah.
Okay.
But most of the time, it's guys who like, like if you're in the comedy zone, if you're trying to get in like the comedy zone scene, right? For example, if you're trying to get into the comedy zones, you can be like, yeah, so like Brandon could be, and like, oh, Brandon. Hey, Brandon, you know this guy Dave? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard vouch. Cool. Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. That's very helpful.
Yeah.
With comedy, there's not a lot of structure to the. What is the next goal? We're just trying to get good.
It's not a job you can apply for.
Right. Exactly.
It's like, hey, we have 2 openings for a stand-up comic tonight, or for the next 5 years at Aetna. It's like.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think first and foremost, it's getting good at material and
yeah, you got to be. Yeah,
you got to be good. There's no shortcut or substitute for that.
You see some people who are really good at getting themselves booked and then never deliver when they get there. And it's like, yeah, you want to get booked once at every place you go to, go for it. But
right, I think it's important to know
get your material there first. You
probably should be ready before you start.
And we've all made that mistake. I made that mistake. I've done shows. I put myself out there before I should have sometimes, and it's bit me in the ass. But
right, right, totally. Do you have your own website?
Yeah.
You do. Is that necessary to have as a part of this?
I have. I mainly focus on my Google page. So if you Google Chris Diorio comedy, I have like a Google My Business page.
You create a Google page. You create a Google business page for yourself.
Yeah, Google My Business page.
So how do you create one of those? I never heard of that.
My girlfriend did it for me.
I might be an idiot.
My girlfriend. I'm an idiot too. My girlfriend did it for me. She's a genius.
Yeah,
I'm not. But she's.
Is that more productive than just a normal website if you don't feel like going through? Because you don't need to have paint to set that up. Or
what's nice about that particular way of doing it is like if somebody Googles Charlotte comedy, for example, I'll come up. Hi, like I'll be one of the first. Like if you Google Charlotte comedy, I think I'm on the first page, like one of the first like 5 or 10 entries in Charlotte comedy.
So search engine optimization,
or like that kind of shit, right? She does that shit. So like that's what I have. because I'm blessed to have the best girlfriend in the world.
What does she do?
Fucking everything. She's a,
But is that part of her job to know about this type of thing?
Yeah. So
Okay.
But
Dude.
yeah, so like
date a tech savvy girl.
Yeah,
Good advice.
find a Kelly.
Yeah.
If you want to be successful in life, find a Kelly.
Yeah.
But
okay. This is all really helpful stuff. I know you got to go, man. Before we go, you want to shout out all your social media stuff so people can find you?
Yeah, find me on Facebook and Instagram at Chris Diorio Comedy. Google me. Google Chris Diorio Comedy.
Yeah, test out this theory.
Yeah, Google Chris Diorio Comedy. Google Chris Diorio Comedy. My podcast will be coming back soon, the Sunday Fun Day podcast.
Oh, hell yeah.
It'll make its return soon, yeah.
Do you have guests on there?
Different form. Yeah.
Can I be
So,
on?
I'm moving into a virtual format, so...
I'll drive up, dude.
Yeah. Well, that became the biggest issue with it when I had was like trying to get people in the studio. But
I've never done a virtual one yet. It's always been in person. I want to learn how to do virtual, but...
It's yeah. I like them in person better, but we'll see. But
okay.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. We'll have to have you on again.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And I'll see you in Greenville, and I said I'll be on the road a little bit, but I'll be back in like a month. So
Okay. Hell yeah.
I'll see you.
All right. Thanks for coming, man. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Do we touch mics? Like, do we cheers mics?
What's that? Cheers. Bumping mics. See you guys.